Hi, my name is Kimberly Richardson, and I'm the founder of Widows of Opportunity. I want to talk to you all about causes of death. When we lose a loved one, it's extremely hard, but it's even harder to process, harder to grieve and move forward depending on the loss, depending on the cause of death. So, the deaths that I want to talk about are terminal illnesses, suicide, homicide, and accident. I'm going to share my stories and some of my clients' stories. I might share them. I will definitely not share their names, but I'll share their stories. So, terminal illness. My mother, she had a heart attack March of 2018, and she never really recovered. She never recovered from it. For 8 months, she struggled and she fought, and she took her last breath in October. And so watching my mother every day, every month, my mother coded every month, watching her, her health decline, watching her suffer, I pre-grieved. I cried, I was devastated, I was hurt. And so it got to a point where I said, enough is enough. If my mother, I said, God, if she can't get better, just take her, because this is too much for anyone to go through. No one deserves to suffer like this. So when my mother took her last breath in front of me, it was a bittersweet moment. Bitter because I'll never see her again. I'll never physically touch her again, laugh with her, talk to her, spend time with her, etc. Sweet because she's finally no longer suffering and she's in a better place. So devastated, yes, I was devastated, but again, I pre-grieved her and I was able to deal with it versus other losses that I had. So I lost my dad and my husband. So I lost my dad. My dad was sick as well, but I didn't know it at the time. I learned it later on as I got older. So one day I was heading out to meet some friends. I was about 15 years old, and my mother called me back into the house and said, "Hey, I want you to go take your dad something to drink." So I went to give him something to drink, and when I went to give him the drink, my dad was so weak that he couldn't hold it. So I told my mother, and she took him to the hospital. The next day, my oldest brother, came into my room and told me that my dad had died. That was devastating because he was here one day, gone the next. What happened? I just saw him last night. I just spoke with him this week. What happened? My husband, fast forward, got home from work one evening, worked overtime, came home, got home, went, showered up, got dressed, decided he was going to go back out that evening and hang out with some friends from work, and he did. And he ended up getting in a car accident. He was killed in a car accident. Again, here today, gone tomorrow. I just talked to him. I just saw him. Those are hard to deal with. It's so hard to deal with that because it's so much unfinished business. I wasn't able to say goodbye. I wasn't able to fix what was broken because with my husband there I had guilt because of our last moments together. I was fussing with him about him going out that night. My last moments with my dad weren't the best because I was being selfish. I wanted to go hang out with my friends. I didn't want to go and give my dad anything to drink. I didn't really, take my time and try to figure out there's something wrong with your daddy. If he can't hold a drink and he's shaking, too busy in myself and my selfishness that I didn't pay enough attention to it to say, well, let me see if my daddy is okay. And the next thing I know, he's gone. So with my dad and my husband dying like that, they're here today, gone tomorrow, it was extremely tough for me to grieve them, because it was hard to cope and hard to deal with that. And I found myself, especially with my husband, being in denial and not believing it. And that's normal. But denial for a short period of time is good, but when it's long term, and you're talking years, 2, 3, 4 longer years with this, it's not healthy. It's a problem. So if you have found yourself in denial for a while, long time, you definitely want to look into getting some help. So you have the suicide. That's another cause of death. People tend to question themselves. What could have done? I should have been there. It's so much guilt wrapped with suicide. It's so much guilt. Guilt comes with losing a loved one, especially if they're here today, gone tomorrow, because again, there's no closure and there's no goodbyes. I shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And so if we all knew, like watching my mother dying every month, her, she's coding and her health is getting worse. I had time to make things right with her and talk more to her and love on her, because I didn't know, her time was very limited. So when we know that, hey, my loved one's not going to be here long, of course we would treat them differently. And when we don't know, we assume they're going to be here for a while or forever. We tend to take that for granted. And I did with my father. I took him for granted. I took my husband for granted, and they're no longer here. So let me get back to suicide. It's easy for us to fall into the guilt. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I should have known the signs. I should have helped them. I was there. I shouldn't have left. Had someone share with me that their loved ones attempted suicide. It didn't work. So after that, they babysitted them. And one day they went out to go get something and came back, and they had taken their life. And so that person was like, I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have went out. We can't live like that. And it's so easy to do the guilt with the suicide, but we have to be careful. Understand that most of the time, majority of the time when someone takes their lives, is usually not about you. It's something within themselves that they have been coping with, been dealing with for a long, long, long time, and they finally got tired of it, or it took over, and they decided to take their lives. And so it's important that you surround yourself with people like that, who've gone through suicide, who lost loved ones to suicide. Get in those groups, go get counseling and get therapy, because you cannot do this alone. Homicide, I want to talk about homicide. Someone taking your loved one's life. If there's no justice, it's tough, because you're scared, you fear for your life or your family's life. If there is justice, they found them, they locked them up, or what have you, it's still tough, because someone took your loved one's life. And then again, guilt comes with that, because they were here today, gone tomorrow. And your last moments might not have been good. Your last moments might have been good, but someone took your loved one. And it's so much, when someone passes away like that, to suicide, to homicide, to accidents, their life is cut short. There's so much more so many plans we have with our loved ones. People talk about what I'm gonna do this time next year. I'm gonna plan and go on vacation. I'm gonna do this for Christmas. I'm gonna do this for that. And so it's when their life is cut short, your time with them is cut short, is very devastating. And so I just ask that you all, if any of you are struggling with any type of loss, especially the losses that when they were here today, gone tomorrow type of losses, it's really hard. Write them a letter. Write your loved one, your deceased loved one, a letter, and just share with them how you feel. Share your emotions. Please, please, please get help. Join a support group. Get a psychiatrist if you need one. Get a therapist. Get some help. In order for you to heal, to move forward, to get better, you have to go through it. In order for you to go through it, you have to get help, because going through it by yourself, you cannot do it alone. So you need help and you need support. You are not alone. I'm going to definitely come back, and I want to talk about some other topics, but today's topic was on some of the causes of death. Shared a few stories, and I would like for you all, if you can, please, if this video helped you and you think that it can help someone else, share it. And even if this video, helped you and you don't know anybody, because sometimes we come across stuff and it's like, I don't need it. Just share it. You just never know who may need it. So please share the video, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for viewing my video.